From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Features Edition for Friday, May the 24th, 2019. Over 1,000 victims of the Holocaust discovered in a mass grave earlier this year in Belarus were finally laid to rest in a Jewish funeral. Belarus worked with the U.S. government and with the Israeli rescue service Zaka to hold a Jewish burial service this week for the 1,214 Jewish men, women, and children whose remains were uncovered during construction just outside the city of Brest at the site of the former Jewish ghetto there. The mass grave they were found in is said to be one of the largest discovered in the country after the Holocaust. Chairman of the U.S. Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad, Paul Packer, said at the ceremony this past Wednesday, "As we remember those whose lives were taken here, we must also renew our commitment to never forget all the victims of the Holocaust and to never again allow such evils to be committed against the Jews or any other people." Adding, "We must reaffirm our duty to fight against the rising tide of anti-Semitism and all other forms of bigotry that threaten to plunge us once again into the darkness." The Colonial Williamsburg Foundation has added the first pieces of Judaica to their collections: a sterling silver and gold Kiddush cup and a silver and gold Torah pointer or yad. The Foundation's Carlisle Hummelstein Chief Curator and Vice President for Collections, Conservation, and Museums, Ronald Hurst, said, "Because we use these objects to tell the compelling stories of early Americans, we seek to acquire things that speak to the full range of their experiences, whatever their race, religion, gender, age, or cultural ethnicity may have been. These latest acquisitions," he said, "mark important steps toward that goal." Well, a team of Israeli biologists brewed a very special beer this week. In a long-term experiment, scientists isolated 6 strains of 3,000 to 5,000-year-old yeast that was collected from fragments of beer and wine vessels found in ancient archaeological sites across Israel. Israel Antiquities Authority archaeologist Dr. Yitzhak Paz told the Times of Israel, "We are talking about a real breakthrough." He said, "This is the first time we have managed to produce ancient alcohol from ancient yeast." In other words, he said, from the original substances from which alcohol was produced. This has never been done before.
Up to 5,000 years, these cells of yeast were able to sit there and wait for the conditions to change. We managed to revive them, and we managed to decode their genome.
It's like a time travel where you travel back to the past and you actually drink what the ancients drink. And this is something that you can't describe if you don't taste it yourself.
80 deaf and hard of hearing Israeli children celebrated their bar and bat mitzvahs in Jerusalem this week. The joint ceremony, which included a sign language interpreted tour of the Western Wall, was sponsored by the International Young Israel Movement and the Jewish Agency for Israel. The Israel Museum opened a new exhibit this week sharing the diary of Ilan Ramon, Israel's first astronaut, who was killed along with the entire crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia in 2003. Fragments of paper from the diary that survived the disaster belonging to Ramon are displayed next to and compared to fragments of the biblical book of Enoch, who the book of Genesis said walked with God. The curators of the exhibit, entitled Through Time and Space, explained that the greatest similarity between the two lies in the tone of these two quote-unquote astronauts who were equally amazed by the sights they beheld and by the profound privilege of witnessing them. And that's the JBS News Features Edition for Friday, May the 24th, 2019. Remember, we are premiering live summer telecasts of the lovely Kabbalat Shabbat service at the famed modern Orthodox Hampton Synagogue, led by Rabbi Mark Schneier and Cantor Netanel Hershtik, tonight at 7 o'clock, followed by Friday night services from Central Synagogue. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.